think only older people are really ready for Jung, or is it changing now so that younger people are actually starting to dive in?
I think it's middle-aged older people, pretty much. Okay, because younger people are still trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Did you see the movie Gandhi?
Yes, great movie.
Okay, well, there's this one scene in the movie where the Martin Sheen character, well, he was being interviewed by someone, and he was talking about his time in the early days with Gandhi. He was a newspaper reporter, but had been following Gandhi around in his early days in India. And he said, and so when I met Gandhi, we were both still trying to figure things out, right? And the person that's interviewing said, well, he must have figured out a couple of things. But, when you think about it, Gandhi was a lot like Donald Trump, right?
Really?
Sure, because he was doing these things that he knew would get reported in the newspaper, right?
He was removing the scabs, like you said.
Right.
Exposing the unconscious.
Right. So what was he? I mean, keep in mind, this is a man who spent a third of his life in prison. He was in prison 27 years of his life. Okay.
Gandhi was?
Yeah, Mohandas Gandhi was in prison.
In South Africa?
Mostly in India, but
Really?
I think a year or two even in South Africa. For example, he did the Salt March. Remember that? The British government was taxing salt as a way to generate funds from the people, and Gandhi says, oh, wait a minute, salt's free. You can just make salt. we're in a country that's surrounded by salt water, right? and so he says, I'm not going to go along with that. And so he called up a few newspaper reporters to follow him, and he says, I'm going to walk to the sea and I'm going to make salt, which was forbidden, right? And it was like 230 miles away, so this became the Salt March. And so he just marched off into the west and got to the seacoast, and he made himself some salt. And he was thrown in prison for it. But because he did that, he got a lot of publicity, and so people started to pay attention to him, for that, and there were many other things. But then he would go on these hunger strikes, and people would pay attention to that. And then he'd get so weak that he was very near death, and the whole country would be praying for him, and there would be general strikes where nothing worked in the country. And
you think that he wasn't very individuated then?
Oh, he was.
Oh, he was?
He knew exactly what he was doing. I'm sure he did.
But he nearly killed himself doing it.
Intentionally.
He was stubborn as hell.
Yeah, intentionally.
Right, but I always think of an individuated person as not so damn self-destructive, stubborn like.
Well, I think he knew his fate. He knew what he was going to be and what he was going to do. He was going to free India from British rule, and he did. Okay, nobody can say it wasn't led by Gandhi. It was certainly led by Gandhi. Nehru and all these guys were the next generation. They were young men when they started with Gandhi. Gandhi never expected to be prime minister or anything. He always knew that it would be Nehru or somebody like that who would be the first prime minister of India.
So Gandhi was good for India, is what you're.
Well, yeah, arguably he was good for India.
So would Trump be good for America then, by extension?
Well, the difference is that Donald Trump isn't individuated. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't know why he can shoot a bullet down Fifth Avenue and kill somebody and no one will think twice about it. He doesn't know why he can get away with that. Okay. Gandhi knew why. Right? And so people who aren't individuated, and there are many that are following him right now, will think that they can do this the next time around, right? in the next election, when Trump isn't there, either 2020 or 2024, there may be another guy, Steve Bannon or somebody like that, who thinks they can do that. And by that time, the jig's going to be up. Nobody's going to let him get away with it again.
So can you have, I mean, I consider Trump to be a narcissist personality.
Surely he is.
Can you have a narcissist who is individuated? Like, would Gandhi be a narcissist?
Well, look, everybody has a little bit of narcissism, right?
But I mean the pathological narcissism.
But all politicians are narcissists.
Narcissists, yes.
Right? Okay. To a certain degree, okay? And to a certain degree, that's all right. You know, that's, to a certain degree, that's what
it takes. Right?
That's what it takes to get up in front of the cameras. I mean, Hillary, no doubt, saw herself as the first woman president, and she was going to do whatever it took to get there. And she put herself through 2 bruising campaigns. I mean, the one against Obama, also a big deal campaign, which she worked on that for well over a year the first time. And this time it was almost a 2-year campaign. She's a very individuated woman, but she's also a narcissist, and she also saw herself as the first woman president, and she was sure that she could be that.